would probably help if I got into the screen. Hey, everybody, what's going on this evening? Thank you for joining me on the show. I do appreciate you coming along. And, a little bit later start than usual, but we had a few technical difficulties, but that happens when you're doing a live streaming show. So, you know, that's one of the fun parts. That's why I love doing lives. That's why I love just, again, you get the real, raw, authentic, and everything that comes along with it. So again, you get all the good stuff and you get all the technical stuff in the background that happens. So, um, it's just part of doing it. So guys, if this is your first time coming along and following me on the show, I do appreciate it. I do appreciate any kind of support you guys give me. You can follow us along on all your social media channels. So if you're watching us on Twitter, we are live at MFSB Live on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook, and that is from the Made from Scratch broadcast page there. That's we're streaming live as well. We're streaming live on our website, and that is at www.madefromscratchpodcast.com there. And then you can also catch us live on our YouTube channel. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, hey guys, do us a big favor. Hit the like and subscribe button and activate your notifications. We are trying to build our subscribership there. It allows us to do a few extra things that I love that can allow me to be creative with YouTube. So thank you very much. And again, oh, yes. For those who don't know, I'm actually streaming as well on LinkedIn Live. So I am on LinkedIn now. So if everybody's watching on LinkedIn, so I do see a few people already there. Tom Nearing, thank you for coming along. Tapas, thank you very much. Arcot, my friend. And one of the best people that I know on LinkedIn, Steve Sullivan, is now following us along. So I love that. And of course, my podcast co-host, Annie Lieb, she's watching as well. Thank you guys for hopping along. I do appreciate it. So now that we got all the particulars out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with this evening's guest. So she has a very interesting story that, I feel needed to be shared. And I got introduced to her through a mutual friend from LinkedIn. His name is Mike Paduranov, and I've mentioned him a few times. He kind of introduced me and my guest, and she's got a really big following on TikTok. But she again, her story and where she's gotten to is what's so interesting to me. And I love the fact that she's been able to be very resilient in who she is, and the fact that she uses her creativity to help share her message. So I wanted to bring her on, and we did have a little bit of problems getting on here, but that's okay. That's the fun part about doing live again. So guys, do me a big favor and help me welcome Jennifer Cline to the show, everybody. Hey.
Hi, everybody.
So
thank you for having me on, Gabriel. I appreciate
no problem. It's my pleasure to have share this forum with people like yourselves that are, I like to call these kind of people like you, creative souls. You have an aspect about you to share your creativity, and then you get to share, your passion for what you're doing. So that's why I love bringing people on like yourselves, because again, you have a very interesting backstory. So let's go ahead and start there. For those who are unfamiliar with you, can you kind of give us a little bit of, kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and
Sure.
how you got here to this point?
Okay, so I live in Ohio. I'm a mother of two beautiful children, and I'm currently a full-time woodworker. And 11 years ago, was not handy whatsoever. Through twists and turns, I've become handy out of necessity. I was married to a man who was a maintenance man at a local college, and he knew how to fix and build everything. So unfortunately, it was his untimely passing 11 years ago that I was kind of forced into learning how to take care of the house and learning how to do projects. And that's really where the creativity side, which I've always had growing up, met with the handy side. And, things happen in life. I'm hoping that I can share my stories. I think a lot of them are very relevant for what's going on in today's world. So that's what I'm hoping to relay, and I have all kind of stories. So I'm hoping that they hit home with the people that have been so kind to stick around and wait for it to come
Hey,
online.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So, one of the things at first, when I got when Mike told me about you, I went ahead and started doing a lot of investigative work, which is what I usually do about the people that I have on. And one of the things that came to my attention, he goes, "Hey, she's got 170,000 followers
Mhm.
on TikTok," and I go,
Wow.
"Whoa, that's not chump change. That takes time to build that." So how did you actually get started on TikTok? And you know, what kind of advice would you give somebody, say like me? I have no kind of presence on there. What
You
would you
have
tell
to be on
somebody?
TikTok, first of all.
Yeah.
I've been on there 8 months, and I honestly, I'm on, social networking and social media. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. It truly is. And I was like, okay, I'm already on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm on my YouTube, and it honestly was the insistence of Gary V.
Yeah.
A while back, that everybody needed to look at TikTok, everybody needed to be on it, and I was like, and I probably the first time I heard his advice, kind of ignored it, and then like I kept hearing it over and over and over, and I thought, you know what? I'm in between jobs right now. I'm home. I'm really working on my craft. You know what? If Gary Vee says something is important, he's pretty much the Nostradamus of social media, and I really probably should pay attention to what he's saying. So, as far as like advice, I would advise you to, if you want to get started, to do what I didn't do.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Let's
do
talk
as I
about
say,
that.
don't do as I do. So anyway, I decided, well, I'll go ahead. I'll download the app. What's the worst that can happen? So I
Yeah.
really, here's what my advice. Anyone that wants to be on TikTok, I would be on there for maybe a certain set of time before you actually produce content.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I hopped on there. It's gonna sound crazy. My first video was nothing woodworker related at all. I have a little chipmunk that is tearing up my foundation, but I think it's cute, so I feed it. My first video on TikTok was of my little chipmunk eating out of my hand.
Yeah.
And I posted it, and just to kind of see, like, work through the bugs. How is this going to work? And anyway, it just started to get a lot of views, and
Wow.
immediately. So I thought, okay. And then after I consumed a lot of video, I kind of saw that there are trends. There's a whole
Yeah.
different, just a whole different dynamic on TikTok. But I didn't do that. That's what I
Yeah.
would advise you. If you get
Yeah.
on there, consume content, you're going to see common trends. And that's what I should have done, and I didn't. But I caught up. I made it for lost time. So it's all good.
Hey, yeah, sometimes it just takes jumping in.
It did.
Believe me, this is I know that lesson very well. This is kind of like what I've done with live streaming and broadcasting. So um, it 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 is something that, again, you have to throw yourself into sometimes just to learn it.
You just have to do it.
Yeah, because again, here, like this live streaming thing that I've done, I've only been doing this. Let's see, here we are in April. I've started doing this at the last week of February, so I haven't been doing this very long. But again, it's a really fast learning curve. So if you really put your time and effort and work, what you want to learn, and study, like you said, consume content, consume as much as you can, you start finding you can make pretty quick
Yes.
leaps and bounds from just starting from nowhere. So that's one of the things I haven't touched on yet, is getting into TikTok, because I'm like you. I've been hearing it a lot as well. I hear Gary V pounding it. Hey, get on TikTok, get on TikTok. But I follow him a lot, so I'm like, uh, um, I'm trying to say, all right, I'm still trying to work out how to master YouTube and Instagram, and now I'm going to get into TikTok, which is a whole nother
It
el-
is.
and a
It
whole
is
nother
different.
yeah, it's a whole nother element to try to figure out, because I have a friend, his son, same sort of deal. He's got 100,000 followers, and he sings, and he's only like 15. So
Yeah.
So, that again, I see the trends on there. I've watched a few times and I go, okay, how can I relate that to what
And
what
that's exactly what I do. I really try to do that. And I will watch and I'm like, okay, like I don't know if you saw my recent post. Some things I share to LinkedIn,
yeah.
other things I think you have to know your audience and they're just going to think I am a little weird, but they're going to really think I'm whacked. So, yeah, so I don't share everything there, but there was one that's a trend going around that is Phil Collins in the air tonight.
Yeah.
And the original video of that was guys slamming cupboards to the drum roll beat.
Yeah, I've seen
Um,
that.
yeah, and it's cool because everybody can use that sound and then they do their own spin on it. And I thought, well, I want to do that, but what does me like slamming my cupboards in my kitchen really have to do with woodworking? And I thought, I know, I'll go out to my tool chest and I'll slam the drawers to that beat. And so
Yeah.
that is how, just an example of how you can hear a sound and you can take it and make it your own. And it's really pretty cool because then when you go through and you look at everyone that has that sound, you can look at how they interpret
Yeah.
it.
So let me ask you about that as well, because how much work actually go, because again, the videos themselves are what, 15 or 60 seconds long. So
They can be up to,
to say,
yes.
yeah. So how much work goes into producing, let's just say, a 60-second clip of content? Because it's a little bit different than like because I've seen some guys and I can tell they probably do at least hours of work for a 60-second clip where they have to do a lot of editing cuts, and I go, wow, that's a lot of work.
I have videos like that where I went, okay, what did I really get accomplished today? Okay, I spent, and obviously as you do it, it gets easier. But yeah, you can have, but I also did a YouTube video, and that was all I did the other day was just that YouTube
YouTube.
video with filming it. And then of course I had to make the craft that I was doing and chopping it up and putting that out there. So that takes hours too. It really
Yeah,
does. But
yeah,
and then, what it's kind of always funny though that the ones that actually catch on and take off on TikTok, some of them are the ones that were just the lamest idea that I just like on the fly threw it together and put it out there and didn't spend all the time and like it gets 1 million views. So
wow.
you just never know. But the
You can't,
crazy thing with TikTok is you can have a video that has 1 million views. Like
yeah.
that is unheard of on Instagram. I don't
Uh,
even know if I've had 1 million views on everything I've ever done on Instagram to like in totality. But
yeah,
you
and
can have one TikTok. My best TikTok has 14 million views.
wow, and that's crazy that again something like that can take off, because again, if you ask me, I have no clue like what actually can go viral and what doesn't.
Yeah,
Some of the things that I do see, I go, wow, that went viral, and then some things I see and I go, that should have went viral, but why didn't it?
exactly. Yeah,
So yeah, that's crazy though. But again, that's the
that's
thing about,
just how it goes.
that's how social media is, right? You just
Yeah,
don't know what's going to take off 1 minute and what's not. So that's pretty interesting though, that it takes, because I see a lot of the videos that you do like put on YouTube and that stuff, and I can see that it probably takes hours and
it
hours
does.
of putting together for even a 30-minute video, even a 10-minute video. That's a lot of work. So yeah, hats off to you, because I know when I try to do video, I try to pare down my hour-long show into, I try to find small minute-and-a-half clips of stuff that I can repurpose, like because
Yeah,
Gary V says, hey,
Gary V.
repurpose your content, right? And
Yeah,
scale it to value. So I try to do that. I go back and I try to find value in a lot of the episodes that I have, and go down. And most of my episodes are about an hour long. So I got to figure out I got to find a minute and a half. So I'm going to go through
yeah,
it. So it does take a while. So
it
I
does.
do understand that. That's pretty crazy. So let's talk about one of the things that kind of interested me whenever I started checking out about a lot about your past, and that is the flags that you create.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And where did you find the inspiration to start doing that? And then
Well, Yeah. So
Cool.
that was, I had a job that I absolutely loved. I was the grand jury coordinator. I'm a paralegal, so I was the grand jury coordinator in a neighboring county to where I'm at. And so all day long, I would check in and like keep the schedule rolling with the jurors, with the witnesses, and most of the witnesses coming in were police officers.
Yeah.
So one of my very good friends is a police officer, Ben, who I met on the job. And one day, because he knew that I was doing things around my house and had kind of become handy, he sent me a text, and I'll never forget it. And he said, "Hey, Jen, you know those thin blue line flags I've been seeing?" He said, "Do you think you could make me one?" And he said, and then he added, "It might be a really good business opportunity for you."
Yeah.
And I remember reading it and thinking,
What?
what business opportunity? But just like kind of jokingly, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ben, I'll make you your flag." And of course, he was my best friend. I'm not going to charge him for it, but it's like, "I'll make you your flag," but like, what business opportunity?
Yeah.
So little did I know, this is like the caveat with, doing favors for friends, is that you might spend like every day of your life doing that. So to like pick a project that you like, because it might become your full-time job. So I did make a flag for him. And actually I just went to Lowe's. I bought laminate flooring. They had like $5 for like a clearance box. And I bought it, and I just, like, where do you go to see how to make a flag? So I kind of just winged it. That's pretty much how I roll. And the first flag that I made, I thought it looked really good, but then when I took a picture of it and posted it, I'm like, oh wait, that looks out of proportion. For some reason, when I looked at it through like a picture, it looked out of proportion. So I thought, and I sent him a text. I'm like, "Ben, I'm not really happy with that first flag, but I'll make you another one."
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, well, what am I going to do with this flag? So I thought, I got the bright idea. I took it into work and I hung it on my wall. And then all of those officers that were coming in, that were my friends and that I truly respected, they'd come in and I'd hand them a Sharpie and I'd say, "Will you sign my flag?"
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of a way of covering my mistake, because once all those signatures are on there, you can't tell that it's kind of out of proportion. And now that mistake, and I guess this is one of my life's lessons, mistakes can have really good outcomes. So that flag, it has, actually, it's hanging in the other room. It has probably about 300 signatures on it.
That's incredible. That's a good story, though. That's a piece of something you can share.
Yeah, it's really special to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we kind of briefly touched on this when we first started. Kind of tell us how you got into woodworking, and what kind of drove you to to want to let me rephrase that. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, and we talked about you getting into woodworking. What kind of put you into that, and then where did you come up with the name, or where did the name come from for Miss DeWalt that you kind of used to
I'm glad you
use
asked.
yourself?
Yeah. So, okay. Well, to answer your question, I didn't want to woodwork.
Okay.
It was only honestly because of the passing of my husband that I even started picking up tools. And that's why DeWalt, because he used DeWalt tools. So the tools I was picking up and teaching myself with were DeWalt. Right after my husband passed, the project he was working on, because I mentioned the house is old, it's 1818 farmhouse, was in his family for over 100 years. When I moved in here with him, he was a bachelor, and like every room was the most ugly room you've ever seen in your life. Nothing was updated. Like the walls were like plaster and lath and horsehair, and like just really bad. The windows were drafty. So when I met him and moved in, little by little, we were kind of fixing up the rooms together. And so when he passed, the room he was working on was our living room. So I had people that came in, thank God, and fixed that. But it wasn't until those people went back to their lives and went away, and then I was left here like picking up the pieces and restarting my life and saying, okay, there's stuff that needs done. I can't keep calling people and having them come and fix things. I'm going to have to cut the cord and just, do things myself. So that's basically how it started. I just, one day decided I was going to redo, in our backyard, Gary had this archery stand. And I decided I was going to make doors and turn it into like a gardening, like a potting shed, like storage.
Yeah.
Which now I'm like, that was a pretty lofty goal.
You had no clue, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, that the day that I did that, I got everything out and I had his miter saw, and this is how little I knew. And I'm kind of like ashamed and kind of scared to admit this. Like, thank God I didn't cut my hand off. But I knew so little that I didn't even know the last time he used it, he had it locked shut.
Yeah.
Because I had that, like, the safety.
Yeah. This is.
So how little I knew was I got that out and I couldn't open it.
Oh.
And I'm like, I got all these sawhorses out. I've got like extension cords. I've got, drills and screws and wood. And here I am ready to work. And I can't open the flipping miter saw. So, that was my first project.
Yeah.
That was my first project that almost didn't happen because I almost gave up. I
Thank
almost
God.
gave up right then.
Thank God you didn't. Thank God you did.
So that led to other things. I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing that and I'm going to be handy, I need a workbench. So I built a workbench. And then little by little through, trying to update the house and do things, I just kind of earned a handy reputation and shared it online. And that's how my friends knew, hey, she's kind of handy. And that's why Ben asked me to make that first thin blue line flag. And as it was hanging in my office, the officers that were coming in saw it and they'd say, hey, do you know a guy that makes these? I want to order one.
You're like, yeah.
So sarcastic me, I'm like, yeah, I know a guy. He's right here. So, I started taking orders, and I'd come home from that job, and I would make the flags in my spare time.
Wow, that's incredible. Because again, that's a really great, that's a really great story to have to go through something like losing a spouse, and then trying to figure out how you were going to still get everything done, how you were how life was still supposed to continue. So
it is, and that's what I want to tell the people that are there watching is, I know this is a scary time.
Yes.
And when you've lived through, and probably a lot of people can look back and say, you know what, I survived something that I thought would kill me. And really, like, not to make light of what's going on, but I look at that, I think that was the worst I thought could happen.
Yeah.
And I made it through, and I lived to tell about it. And you know what? Everybody, we got to be careful, but we're all going to be okay. We're going to make it through this too. Yeah.
And that's a good message that, I too preach to everybody as well, that no matter what, things are going to slowly start changing again. Life will start gaining some sort of normalcy, and people will be able to go, okay, I kind of remember what this is like to walk out without masks and gloves on and that sort of thing. It's just going to take time. It's like anything. It's just like, when you lose a spouse, right? There's a grieving time. You have to you have to grieve. You have to understand those emotions and let them be part of who you are. That's something that you never want to lose that. So I tell people,
I think we all have different struggles because we all have different purposes.
Yeah.
And if we keep those experiences to ourselves, I don't think that the world is benefiting. We're all going to go through different things. And I think it's our job. We have a duty that if you see somebody going through that, you have to reach out and bring them up, because when I was going through my struggle, there was a team of people around me. Yeah.
And again, some people, it's difficult to even have that right now because you can't get close to people. You can't.
Right.
That's kind of a difficult thing to.
Right.
So that's why I tell people right now, reach out to somebody. You get the opportunity to share your story, talk about whatever's going on, to really be able to connect with somebody, let somebody know that you're still thinking about them. Somebody out there cares about them, that this world, even though as big and vast as it is,
Yeah.
we can all shorten it. We can all connect with each other. So that's awesome. I love that you do that. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about how you've had to change your life, because again, I've asked this of everybody because of everything that's happened. So, since you do have children, I'm pretty sure things have kind of changed the dynamic around your
Oh,
household. So how?
sure. I'm now a teacher of my son who wants to be nocturnal and sleep in until like noon.
Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
that's why I ask everybody. So, how's that kind of affected your work, your
Okay. Yeah.
career, and then of course being at home and being now a teacher, a mother, and everything else.
Right. Well, actually, I've been at home for about a year and a half. The job that I mentioned that I loved, um, the only reason I bring this up again, there's a lesson. I was because of the things that were happening in my life. I had a female boss that targeted me and bullied me. And again,
Yeah,
I bring this up for inspirational purposes. So it became a toxic work environment, and I had to leave. So I went from getting up and getting dressed and putting on nice clothes, doing my makeup and hair, and being very social, to now being in my basement and
yeah,
having to recreate myself and say, okay, here I am. I'm starting my life over yet again.
yeah.
So I guess that's one maybe blessing in disguise. I know everyone right now is reeling, going, "Oh, my life, is so different, and I'm at home." I've already had a year and a half to adapt to that.
Yeah, and that's good.
So, I guess this is the first time, because I've been a little bit bitter about being a good employee and being forced out of the job that I loved. Even though I know there was a purpose hidden in there somewhere. But so yeah, I've
Yes.
been just doing that and at home. And as far as business wise, though, I predominantly make flags.
Yeah.
So our governor, I'm in Ohio, and our governor has really been on the ball with his guidelines and keeping us updated. But he pretty much has encouraged us all to stay home unless you have absolutely essential business.
Yeah.
And the last time I went to ship my flags, there was a long line and waiting, and we all had to go in and touch the same keypads. And I thought, my flags, I cannot justify shipping them as essential business. So they're
Yeah.
just gonna kind of have to wait, because I'm not gonna put those people's lives in jeopardy. I'm not gonna risk picking up something and now my son has no mother and no father. It just wasn't
Yeah.
worth it. And my flag people have understood. So I'm making flags, but I'm not shipping them. But in trying to navigate and trying to figure out, different things for TikTok and what craft can I come up with, and all of that, my daughter sent a picture to me of a squirrel on this
Yeah.
tiny little picnic table, and maybe you've seen it floating around
Yeah.
Facebook. So I made one of those
Yeah.
for my little chipmunk that I feed, and people wanted to put in orders for that chipmunk table.
Can I tell you something? Can I make a confession? Okay, I showed that video to my daughter and she loved it. She goes, she watched it like 3 or 4 times in a row. And then I showed my wife and she goes, I want one of those.
I know, see? And you know what? People, it's kind of a good thing, because people are at home, and
Yeah.
I know, like, they're like looking out the windows and they're feeding the birds and they're feeding the animals. So I did convert some of those picnic tables. I put hooks, and
Yeah.
I did make feeders out of some of them. And
Yeah.
it gives people, they can watch the video and maybe they want to make it on their own, or maybe they just want to buy one and they just want to watch the birds, and it brings them joy, and for a couple minutes they can watch the birds and they can forget about
Forget
their
about life.
troubles.
Yeah. Forget
Yeah.
about the
So
life and everything that's around it. So that's all. That's
so now
beautiful.
I'm selling that, and I'm just having people pay through PayPal, and I leave them on my porch. They can come pick them up. So like you kind of find ways around it. You just have
That's
to reinvent yourself.
So, guys, if you're in the Ohio area, to
If
look
you're in
up
the
Jennifer
Bridgeton
Klein.
area,
Yeah.
there's about
Ye
5 of them out on my porch right
That's
now.
incredible, though. I love this. This is what's, this is what's really great about doing this and connecting with people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So kind of, you know, I know that we're all going through tough times right now. People are having hard. Some people are having a hard time adjusting to the environment, and even now as we're starting to see things open up a little bit, um, people are still suffering quietly. They're not, they're sitting at home. They're not, again, they were already introverts who now are really at home. And I know that there's a few, I've talked to a few like people who are extroverts who are having a hard time.
That was
Uh,
me. That was
adju-
me when I left my job for sure.
yeah,
It was hard.
adjusting to this because again they're so used to that human interaction. They're used to
Yes.
being able to shake a hand, say hello to somebody, give somebody a
Right.
hug,
Yeah.
and those sort of things. So I know that people are going through a hard time through that, and one of the things that why I say people like yourselves I bring to the forefront because again your stories, yes, you've had tragedy in your life, yes, you've had to work through a lot of things, but you were also very resilient about it, and you also found the silver linings in life. And that's what I like to share with people, that you can find a silver lining in just about any
Everything.
stitch in everything. You just have to look for it. So
You do. And it
yeah,
might take some time to see it. It
yeah.
really might.
It's some, for some it won't formulate instantly.
Right.
It's something that's building and it takes time. So kind of like what you've done, you've kind of again created your persona, you've created who you are, you've worked
Mhm.
these things, and you've still been able to be genuine about your own story. You've been genuine about who you are. So I think that's what people really connect with you. They
Yeah.
see how authentic you are and they go, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. There's
That
hope
is
in there.
exactly my purpose. Well, I
There's
think I have several of them, but that is one thing. If there's a takeaway, and I've heard women, especially, being that I'm in the, working with tools, and that's not super common yet, although I hope to change that. But that's what I hear is, I went on and I saw your video and I saw that you were doing it and you're like me. People have to be able to relate to me. And
yeah,
so I think a lot of women can go on and say, okay, she looks like she's a mom. She looks like me. She looks, if she can do it, then I can do it. So
yeah.
that's what I hope to do. And I never talked about the Miss DeWalt thing
Oh yeah.
because you
Let's
asked me, and I
yeah.
just want to be clear for anyone
That's
watching.
okay. Let's dig into that because
Okay, so
that's
that's
pretty
awesome.
interesting as well. Let's go ahead and talk about how you came up with the moniker Miss DeWalt.
Okay, so that is totally a nickname, and thank God Stanley Black and Decker has not called and said, "Hey, Jess, can you cut it out?" So okay, so I'm going to go back in time to when I was working at the prosecutor's office and working with the police officers. So um, there was one day that I came home from work and I happened to have three of my thin blue line flags in the three different sizes that I offer.
Yeah.
So, and it was a day that I'm like, I'm still in my work clothes. A lot of things that I was posting on social media were me in my overalls and I looked pretty haggard. And I'm like, well, I'm still dressed up in my clothes. Let me grab my three different sizes of thin blue line flags. And I drug my unwilling son out front and, hey, take pictures of mom. So he was taking pictures, and I must have been working on something because my husband's DeWalt drill was sitting around. It was in
Yeah.
close proximity.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking pictures, and I'm like, well, hang on 1 second, because I had the police flags, and I kind of posed with,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of holding it like a gun,
Gun?
kind of being kind of cute, funny.
Yeah.
So he took a picture, and I liked that one the best. I thought it was funny, so I
Yeah.
shared it online, and almost immediately one of my friends said, you need to share this to DeWalt's Facebook page. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I followed him and shared it. And like within a very short amount of time, I got a notification on Facebook from DeWalt's Facebook page that they were going to be running a contest.
Oh, wow.
Show Us Your Tough contest.
Yeah.
And the idea was to take a picture of you with your tools or just your tools.
Yeah.
And to tell a story about how you use them, how they make an impact in your life. So I'm like, I was like right on it.
Yeah, that was kind of already what you were doing, right?
It was. I'm like, okay, I already have a story. And it was a Facebook contest. So
Yeah.
DeWalt did not choose me. It was, you had to post a picture, tell a story. And what it didn't say is you're going to have to like harass every known person that you know to come vote for you. So that's what I did. I waited for the contest to open, and like if it opened at like 8:00
Yeah.
p.m. on Monday, 8:00 p.m. on Monday, I was there. I posted my picture, and I just started a campaign of, "Hey, everybody, please vote for me," because I really wanted to win. Because
Yeah.
what you got was a trip to Vegas.
Oh, wow.
A trip to Vegas.
Vegas.
I got to see the PBR finals and like this great prize package. So, long story short, I badgered everybody I knew. Everybody voted. I won by like a landslide, and I won the contest. So
Awesome.
after I won, though, all of my officer friends started calling me Miss DeWalt, like as a joke.
There you
Like, here
go.
she is. There's our Miss DeWalt. And it
DeWalt.
was beginning because there's a Miss Nikita who's like half my age. And you know, it's a lot different campaign than like what I put out there. But so they're like, yeah, you're like Miss Nikita, but you're our Miss DeWalt. So I'm like, you know what? So we all had our joke. And then they kept calling me that. So I'm like, you know what? I looked it up and I'm like, nobody's using that name.
Let me
take it up. I'm gonna own it. So
right.
That's why I like, you know, I'm just gonna own it. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and
that's what I did. So
that's
now all of my
awesome.
social media is around, and honestly, it's my love of their tools. That company, even if they never do another thing for me the rest of my life, which I would love to work with them, but even if they never do anything, they were almost like a North Star to me. Yeah. Because they kind of showed me the way.
Yeah.
And gave me a purpose.
Yeah. So hey, DeWalt guys, yeah. if you ever get to watch this video, wink, wink. I think I know somebody who I know somebody who you might be able to help you with your business. So that's awesome though. I love that. That's again, you know, you took something, you ran with it, and again, that's why I tell people, look, if you feel like that this is something that you want to do, whatever it is that you're doing. So if it's woodworking, if it's painting, if it's being a musician, do what you're going to go do and do it 100%. Throw every single part about what you want to do into it, and you'll start seeing results. You'll start seeing the universe start presenting opportunities to yourself that you didn't even know were there, or they were even on the horizon. So that's why I say, you know, one of the things that we had, you know, we kind of talked back and forth about was doing live streaming. This is like your first real live stream, but I tell everybody, this is one of the best ways to get recognition apart from doing what you've already been doing on social media. Like I said, I've only been doing this for a very short time, but yet I've already accomplished a lot of things that people who have been doing video and that sort of thing has taken them years to build.
Yeah, you're a natural. I would never guess this was just a new thing for you.
Yeah, and again, and I tell everybody, look, and I swear to God, you can ask if you ever run into anybody that I'm related to or anything like that. For some reason, I did not have a technical background, number one, and number two, I did not like being on camera. I did not have a lot of selfies. I did not have a lot of things like that on my Facebook page, you know. So I really didn't like being on camera too much. So for me to
I'm right there with you.
So
I'm there with you.
For me to do this whole 180 and now to be doing it front and center, you know, and again, I didn't know that I would love this. I didn't know this would be something that would consume what I wanted to do every single day. It was just again, it was a part of me challenging myself. That's all it was, is me saying, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself. I was going to do something safe and comfortable by doing just a podcast, because I could say, well, nobody will know me. They'll just hear my voice, and I can fix any mistakes that happen and that sort of a thing. And one of my friends, the friend that kind of introduced us, Mike, was the one that called me out and told me, you need to do more. You need to challenge what you're going to do. So I said, you know what? He was right. And because of what he told me, here I am now. I'm doing interviews. I'm bringing on interesting people who I feel have great stories to share. And it was, again, and then I get to share what you do creatively. You go beyond just doing this sort of things. All the videos that you do, guys, and if you haven't checked her out on TikTok, you can check her out at Miss DeWalt at Jennifer.Cline on TikTok, and go see the videos and how much work goes into what she does. You have to have a creative mind to put some of those things together, because some of them are really funny. I love the one where you were cutting a hamburger with your
that was from a hater. That was because that was inspired by a hater, which I should say, there were a couple points that what you're talking about, like going out of your comfort zone. I liken that to my locked miter saw.
Yes.
It wasn't until I unlocked, like you have to unlock yourself from that closed safety position.
Yes, that's a great way to put about it. Yes. So
the sandwich. I had gotten one too many. Can she make a sandwich?
Comments, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because believe it or not, there's still some people out there that think women, tools are for guys and women shouldn't even, how dare you stagger into that arena?
Yeah.
And so there was just one too many. Her husband probably did that, and he, she probably, or whatever, like husband's sandwiches, whatever. So I thought, you know what? I'll show him I can make a sandwich. And how am I going to put a funny plot twist to it? And so that's why I'm, making a sandwich and cutting it with my reciprocating saw.
That was great, though. I saw it. I said, okay, that's originality, that's creativity, and that is a way to express who you are and what you are as a person. So again, guys, you can all do it. Everybody. That's why I tell everybody. I've actually had people reach out to me, and because I've been doing the live streaming sort of thing, and they go, how did you put all this together? And I said, I just did.
Just do it.
Just do it. I mean, I know it sounds simple, and you probably think that there's a lot of complexity to it. And the deeper you get into it, yes, there is. But to start out with, it's pretty simple. You can pick up your phone. You can go to Facebook Live. You can go to Instagram Live, and you can start posting video. You can go to TikTok and start creating videos. And again, put yourself out there. That's the best way. I tell everybody now, if you want if you want to build a brand, if you want to share an idea or a business, and that's why I call my show Made from Scratch, because
I love that.
every idea, everything that you create starts from scratch. It's almost like a recipe, right? Yeah. A recipe that you're going to make something from, it starts from scratch. So
I saw that and I thought, that is every project I ever do. I scratch my head and go,
and it was in everything. So I had conversations with a few entrepreneurs, and that's where the idea actually came from, was when we were talking about their business, and they go, well, you know what? When I started from scratch. I didn't have anything, and I said, that's it. Made from scratch.
Isn't that awesome how things just fall into place?
And I said, you know what? I'm just running with it, and that's what I'm going to brand myself on, and that's what I'm going to share, and that's what I've done.
And people that want to take from our leads, it is scary. It really is. I would post things and like have a panic attack, like maybe I should take that off. But what's more scary to me than putting myself out there is looking back and having regret and saying, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
I wish I would have. That to me is perhaps the scariest thing. I don't want to look back. I want to be like a 100-year-old woman and go, look at everything I did. And thank goodness I wasn't afraid. And yeah, there were people that made fun of me, and there are, and I think anybody going into this needs to know that there are going to be a few, but the most are going to be supportive, and they're going to connect. Your people are going to find you. Your audience is going to find you.
Yeah. And again,
you just have to do it.
Yeah, you just have to take that step. And again, you'll see where it takes you. because just like you were saying, you're gonna have people that are gonna be that negative person in your lives, and you might not even know who they are. But my question to you is, why do you even care? Um, if you know who you are as a person, and you can feel and you love what you're doing, it
Right.
it doesn't matter what people say.
Right.
Again, um, I might never get to I might never get to Gary V numbers, but again, I'm doing this every day out of a love and passion for doing it. Um,
That has to be at the heart of whatever you choose to do. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. You'll
yeah,
burn out.
yeah. Everybody keeps asking me. They say you're doing this at a really quick pace. Um, are you afraid of being able to keep it up? And I said, no, I'm not afraid. And they say, why? And I said, because I don't even have to think about it. That's part of the process. I don't even think about it. I just do now. So again, reaching out to people, connecting to people, this is something that I love now. So having these sort of conversations, and everybody says, "Does it matter that you don't know who they are?" No. I mean,
We know each other now.
yeah,
You're like
exactly.
my old friend.
I tell everybody, have you ever been in an elevator and just started a conversation with
All
somebody?
the time.
And they say, "Yeah." Then I said, "Okay, imagine that, but with a camera."
Yeah.
That's essentially what I'm doing. And if I can find a good story and something connect with somebody on a personal level, my job's already done.
Yeah.
I'm just essentially a conduit to sharing whatever they want to share with me. And this is the fun part about doing live streaming. Um, because again, yes, I had technical difficulties today. Yes, we had a hard time trying to figure
And
out
that
things.
was probably on my end. I've
But
never
again,
used
but
that
again,
before.
I tell everybody, here we are. We're
Yeah.
having this conversation. Here we are sharing what we're doing and what we love. And you can see a lot of, again, guys, if you have not checked out Jennifer, I don't just go to TikTok. Go check her out on YouTube as well, because you'll find a lot of the deeper. That's where I saw the story about what you've been through, and I go, oh my God, um,
Mhm.
my heart
I
just,
almost edited that end out where I cried and got choked up.
yeah, and that did this to me. I go, oh my God, my heart just goes, oh, I um I felt the emotion. But
I
again,
almost, yeah, we were going to edit that out. That was at a time where I didn't know how to do editing. I
and
had a friend that I worked with that I paid to do that. And I called him up again. His name's Ben, also different Ben though, that I worked with. And I said, Ben, I really have a feel. I said, do you still have that video where I got choked up and couldn't finish what I wanted to say? And he said, yeah, I never get rid of anything. And I said, I really think it's important to the video to leave that in, but then to come back after I've regained my composure to where I really, where I did get it, because that's my whole message.
yeah, and that's why I said you get the real authentic part about that when you see that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that's why I love live video. So no matter what, even if we're talking about something and somebody starts tearing up or
Yeah,
somebody starts saying, that's the real emotion.
that is.
That's what you want. Because again, it lets you see, first of all, that this person is vulnerable, and number two, that she is a human or he is a human. You see the emotion. You get to see. So just apart from like the laughs and the good stuff, you also see every single part of it. So um, I don't edit any of my videos. I share everything the way it is, and that goes back to what I've learned from my mentor, who I'm going to introduce to you later on after we get this done. Because again, if you love how I do things, you're going to love what he does, because
Okay, cool.
his message and what he shares. I was on his show this morning. I've been trying to get on there for a while, because I've been following him for so long, for I think for the last 6 7 months, just constantly being on the show, engaging in that sort of thing. So when I finally got the ask to come on, I was like, oh my God,
Heck yeah.
heck yeah, yeah. Where do I sign up? So, um, but again, he shares again the people that he has on the show, the people that are part of his community now, which I'm part of that community. They're always so very inclusive, and they love sharing who they are and what they are with everybody, and it always brings a good message. And that's why I said finding these people and bringing them to the forefront, it's what I'm about. because again, I love to pound people over the head with positivity. You want to go find a negative part of life, go somewhere else. This isn't the show
Right.
for it.
Yes, I'm the same thing. I just don't want to be. I there was there was a situation on LinkedIn I had to put out a fire today. It's like, I put out a positive post about unity, and two people wanted to fight with each other, and I was like, ain't gonna happen on my watch. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all about that too. I'm very much law of attraction.
Yes.
If you put positivity out there, you put good things out there, that is what's going to come back to you. So
Yes.
I totally
Always.
heartedly believe in that, because I've seen it. Once
Yeah.
you believe in that and you really focus on that, I've seen it over and over and over happen in my life.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
that's really great. So let me get to the next couple questions, and these are usually the last two that I end before we go off the air. So once we get all past all of this, and life gets back to some kind of normal routine, or just any kind of normal life, what are your plans going forward? What are some of the things that you might have working on that for Mr. Walt? What are some of the things you have cooking, or is there anything that you might be working on now that you can kind of
I
springboard you going
I can
forward?
maybe give you a teaser. I
Okay.
was contacted. I can't say who it was, but I was contacted by a big network to possibly have some involvement in
You
that aspect. I really can't say anything too much,
don't
but
have you don't
then
have
all this virus stuff happened. So I feel that my platform is going to grow. And then I'm going to be, that's why I wanted to do this live. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to get used to this, because I can foresee in my future that I'm going to be doing lives.
yeah.
Um, I think I'm going to be doing public speaking, although that scares the bejesus out of me.
Hey, you and me have something in common. That, and I've expressed this numerous times on the show. So if people who follow along have been watching, I have a funny enough, I have a big fear of public speaking.
I do
Um,
too.
and it's the fact that even though I'm able to do this, I can justify it by saying, "Well, it's just a camera. Nobody's here."
Right, right. Like,
I
it's
don't.
just you and I talking. I don't even know how many people are watching, or if they've all fallen asleep because I've gone on with my stories. But yeah, here's just a personal. A few years ago at church, our pastor asked me to read at Christmas Eve service, which the place is packed. And I
Yes.
told him no. I told him no, that I was afraid that I would have like an out of body experience and not know what I was reading. And I knew how packed the church would be, and I didn't want to be stressed from like that, and like for weeks leading up to Christmas. And afterwards, I was so disappointed in myself.
Yeah. And
I
again,
don't want to be that person that says no to things because of my own fears.
yeah, and again, that's why I say challenge. That's why the whole theme of my year has been challenge myself. So that's why I wanted to get out and to do public speaking. I don't know if I'll do any good at it. I don't know
I don't know either.
if I'll fall flat on my face, but I have to at least go try.
Right.
And because I do want to share a message. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to get out and share positive messages with people, talk about changes in life and that sort of thing. So part of doing that would have to be speaking in front of crowds,
Right.
and speaking in front of people and having all these eyes upon you. So yeah, I'm going to have to learn how to work past that if I want to continue to do what I want to do.
Correct.
But
Correct. That's, I think those are the hurdles. And like today, I'm so glad that you asked me on, because this is it's baby steps.
yes,
I took the next best step for myself, which was doing a live,
right.
and then probably I'll do another one, and
Yeah,
then probably I'll start doing my own lives where it's just me talking to people that are messaging in. And
yeah,
then it might be, being in front of a production crew. For all I know, it might be speaking
yeah,
on a stage. I don't know, but I think that you and I didn't go through our struggles in life and have the experiences we had to keep them to ourselves.
yeah. And again,
So,
I'm going to tell you right now, if you need any help doing and figuring any of that out, or any of the behind the scenes work, please reach out to me.
thank you.
I am, I love the behind the scenes stuff. I'm becoming more familiar with being the nerdy aspect of doing video production, but again, that's me wanting to learn it and push boundaries
Yeah.
and limitations and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, because again, that's part of who I am, and this is what this is everything that people are watching right now are part of what I am creatively. So this is why I love sharing this and doing this with everybody, because this is my Picasso, this is my painting, this is my brushstroke, this is my
Right.
whatever you want to call it. This is part of what I do. So I thank you again for coming on, Jennifer. And then the last question that I usually ask, and it does seem a little morbid, but when your when your time on Earth is done and everything's in its place, what do you want to be remembered for? What kind of legacy do you, Jennifer Cline, want to leave behind to the world?
I want to leave a legacy. I want people to think of me and think that I made a difference. I want people to think that I helped to break stereotypes.
Yes.
I want, especially like in the tool industry, sadly, like advertising, women are few and far between, and I'm hoping to change that. I'm hoping to bring more women into the trade. So I want people to look at me and say, I was inspired to be an electrician. Not that I'm an electrician, but I was inspired to be, in the trades because I saw her, or I was inspired to do that craft or do whatever, break out of my comfort zone because she did it.
Yeah. And
so that is what I hope. I hope that I wasn't just somebody that came and went and kept to myself and was quiet and nobody remembered. I want to be remembered that I made a difference.
No, awesome. And again, that's why I ask everybody that, is because we all, I think at some point in life, we all get to that point where we start thinking about, what are we going to leave behind? What is the message, or what is the thing that people are going to be remembering me for? And I think that what you're talking about is one of the best kind of perspectives to have, is this, that I want to be remembered for being a trailblazer, a changer.
Actually, you just read my mind. That was the word that I'm like, I didn't say trailblazer.
But
I didn't have to. You did it for me.
Yeah, so being that person that gets to go and makes a trail for somebody else to follow back behind you. I love that. So guys, thank you again, everybody, for coming along for the journey. Sorry for the delay again, but that's again part of what we do here. That's part of the fun part of being on a live video show. You get everything that goes along with it. And again, I want to thank Jennifer for coming on, guys. If you want to go check her out again on her TikTok page, it is Mr. Walt at Jennifer.Cline. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then
kids are driving you crazy and they need projects, I have all kind of different DIY.
There you go.
Look, you have a honeydew list or whatever you might. But if your kids are, look, I have all sorts of, things that you have around your house. Like plastic spoons. You can do this craft, or maybe there are things like the pallet wall behind me.
Yeah.
There's just a range of whatever I feel like working on. I film it and I do a video. So if you're looking for things to do, maybe you want to keep yourself busy, you just want to be entertained, or you want to craft, please check out my channel, because there's like tons of projects mixed with a little goofiness in between, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's the fun part about it. And then you can find her again. It is she is on Instagram at Mr. Walt there. You can find her on Twitter at one Mr. Walt there, right? It's number one.
I think so. I think it's Mr. Walt.
One.
There actually is somebody that has the last name
DeWalt. Oh, okay. and then again, you check her out, her YouTube page. It is Mr. Walt as well on YouTube. So yeah, guys, again.
My flags, if I can interject real quick, my flags though, I have 2 Instagram accounts because one isn't enough work to keep up with. My flag page on Instagram is Blessed Are the Peacemakers 5.9.
Awesome.
So that's a Bible verse.
Yes. Again,
yes.
Check it out, guys. Thank you again, Jennifer, for hopping on, guys. And I had a great time. And if you stick tight, I will have a little conversation for you after everything's gone. And everybody, see you again Monday evening, 7 o'clock. I'll see you Monday evening again. We'll be back at it. And Sunday I'll come on live and I'll go ahead and get out the roster for the rest of the week. So thanks everybody again. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe. Practice good social distancing.
Yeah.
Follow your your stay-at-home, stay-in-place orders. They're doing it for a reason. We're going to get it all past this again. So, guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe. I'll talk to you again Monday evening. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.